Welcome to today's episode of Your Daily Scrum. I'm professional Scrum trainer Ryan Ripley. This is professional Scrum trainer Todd Miller. Todd,
Hello.
no mercy.
Eagle Fang forever.
Still on the Eagle Fang. All right. I guess
the
crane kick is still an illegal kick too, huh?
Yeah, for that listener that wanted to know if you and I disagree on something, this is big time.
Big time. No
You're
mercy.
watching it all fall down.
And this is
until
where
the All Valley where we'll settle.
This is where it all falls apart.
Yeah.
No, Cobra Kai, great show. But we've got a topic today, Todd. I wish, maybe we'll do a Cobra Kai Your Daily Scrum. We'll figure out how that works. But today, I think we have a viewer who has really an important question. They're all important, but this one I think could be causing some team issues. They want to know how to avoid playing favorites on a Scrum team. And I think this is from a Scrum Master perspective.
Yeah. Interesting question, right? And I wouldn't say it just applies to the Scrum team or it applies to work. It really applies to life, this whole concept. And I have some pretty steady opinions on this one.
Yeah, I think this one's going to get fired up a bit. I think first and foremost, though, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Mm-hmm. Let's check in with the team. I think far too many Scrum Masters, especially those who they just jumped out of one of the 2-day classes and they're super excited, they start seeing a lot of problems where there might not actually be problems.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so they start kind of making up work. Oh, this is an impediment and that's an impediment. And suddenly it's like, hold on a minute. Let's check in with the Scrum team. Let's see if there's actually a sentiment of favoritism, right? So that's just openness. Like just in a retro, just get it out there. Do you think, I favor people in events? Do you think that I'm spending more time with some people than others? Do you like, if there is doubt, there is no doubt. If you know that movie reference, throw it in the comments. Maybe I'll send you a copy of our book, Fixing Your Scrum. If you know that reference, you're my hero. All right. First one to leave the movie that reference in the comments, I'll send you a book. But if there is doubt, there is no doubt.
Yeah.
Right. It's just it's one of those where go ahead and check in. If the team validates though that there are feelings of favoritism Todd, what do you think about that?
I'd like to go to the next bullet, please.
Okay.
Why is this a thing? We're grown professional adults, right? And so, you should be able to go to lunch with who you want to go to lunch with.
Yeah.
Right? You should be able to go grab a pint after work with someone you want to grab a pint with.
Yep.
And here's the thing. If this really is a thing, I would say that there is issues way deeper than what you're feeling or hearing on the surface. If this favoritism thing just keeps coming up and people are talking about it and you kind of hear whispers in the hallway, I would say that you're broken somewhere that's deeper than just this favoritism thing.
Well, the organization for sure. There might be some form of politics at play. There might be some form of, that person gets to spend more time with that person and that means they're going to get promoted. There's all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think as a Scrum Master, part of what's kind of tricky about our job is we've got to discover those organizational processes and practices at play that are happening all around us, those systems of work that impact us. And if we're contributing or causing some of that conflict, we've really got to check that and figure it out. But I think, Todd, you're right.
Yeah.
There's probably something deeper here.
I think so. Something other than FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. There's something else happening here that I think that we should investigate and really try to find the root cause of.
Yeah. And it just I'm one of 5, kids in my family, right? I say kid, I'm 41, but I'm not a kid, but there's 5 total siblings in my family. And we would tease my mom and dad every once in a while, like, so who's your favorite? And they're like, oh, honey, there is no favorite. There's definitely a favorite.
Guess who's the least favorite in my family? Well, you're like middle child here.
I'm definitely not top 3. I know that, but
I wouldn't suspect you would be.
I'm fighting for last place with my twin brother, but no, I'm kidding. I had a great childhood. Our parents raised us well, very supportive family. But I think that kind of sentiment kind of carries over into work, right? Yeah. Who's the Scrum Master's favorite or who's the boss's favorite? And it's like, I'm with you, man. This shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
Go in, be a professional, do great work, rise above those organizational politics. Really just we're trying to get to done. We're trying to deliver. And these things do not contribute anything to that.
Nope. In fact,
Now,
if this is an issue, it's detracting from that.
yeah. And so we need
this
to
would actually be something that I would say Scrum Masters need to take an action on if this is a thing.
Yeah, let's root this out. I mean, if there is actual favoritism, if you're noticing some nepotism, if you're noticing where one developer gets all the promotions because they went to college with the okay, so that's where we partner with HR.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really think HR can be a great partner here. But if it's more gossiping, if it's more talking behind people's backs, let's root that out too. Let's expose it and end it.
Yep.
Now, if we're as a Scrum Master, if we have our favorites, right? So I have been in the situation where I'm trying to facilitate events. I'm trying to work through retros, and there are people who are more willing to talk than others. And so I might go to them more often. And that can create a perception of unfairness. It can create a perception of inequality, right? And so I think from a facilitation standpoint, make sure you're considering the quiet people too, because I think this could be a root cause of kind of this perception growing. And make sure you reach, hey, Todd, you haven't talked to us in a while. What do you think about this? Can you help us out? And make sure you're really worried and considering inclusion, because that could be at the root of this too. But this is a tricky one.
This is always kind of reminding me too of the times when the bullets are flying a little bit, right? There's stress in the environment. You tend to just go for the person that's going to give you the immediate direct answer. Yeah. And sometimes that's not the right thing to do. Right. Sometimes it's worth taking an extra 30 seconds to grabbing some people and involving them collectively in answering, just going to the person that's a little bit more extroverted because you're going to get an immediate direct answer. So,
I strongly believe that shortcuts when it comes to relationships and people always have a cost.
Yeah.
And the cost is typically perception. Right. And the impact and damage is usually relational. So watch out for those shortcuts. I think that's a great tip as well. Yeah. You avoid playing favorites by being conscious of the fact that you could be playing favorites, right? I mean, just be aware. But I think first and foremost, I want to go back through this because this one could get a little touchy. Check in with the team. This really shouldn't be a thing. Look deeper. Make sure you're including everyone. And if you do find that there are some imbalances or inequalities, dear Scrum Master, partner with HR, partner with leadership, and get those rooted out.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
We're professionals.
All right, great question. I love that. I think they're trying to stump us, Todd, and I hope that I hope we're doing all right. But I'll tell you what, everybody, we love the questions, so please keep sending them in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash that subscribe button, right, Todd?
Correct, and keep talking to me in chat. I've been trying to keep up with chat as best I can. Sometimes, if the answers are vague, it means we're turning it into a video.
Yeah, very nice. So we do try to make sure that every comment is responded to. You get at least some kind of answer. Most likely you're going to get a video. And so please keep the questions coming. How have you seen this play out? Right? Leave us a comment in the chat, in the comment area below here, somewhere down in here, right? Let us know how it's played out. Have you seen favoritism? What was going on? What was the context? Maybe we've missed the mark and you've got a great idea that we'd love to share with the community as well. Check out the socials. Hit agileforhumans.com if you want to learn more about Todd and I, our book, Fixing Your Scrum, and all the classes that we teach. But otherwise, have a great day. We hope you're set up and well prepared to take on the challenges that as a Scrum Master you're going to face. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Cheers, everybody.